Cats fans want. Noel hits one high to left field. That's a no-doubter for Noel.
One pitch, high drive to right, well stocked. That ball is going. That ball is gone. It's a 3-2 ball game. A 2-run home run for George Galera. The ball hit high, deep down the left field line. Beltray going back and set the ball is gone. We're tied at 4 on the bottom of the 8th. In the air to right field, hit pretty high, hit pretty deep. That ball is gone. Ryan Lavastida with a walk-off home run.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another Future Guardians of the Land podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Sleds. With me this week, I have another special guest. He is the Cleveland Guardians 2021 second-round pick out of Ole Miss, pitcher Doug Nikhazy. How you doing, Doug?
Doing good, Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you coming on with me.
Great to be here. Happy to be here.
So I hear you're out in Arizona. How's the training and the workouts going, getting ready for your first professional season?
Been good. I've been out here for a while. I've been out here for a little over a month now, just getting ready for everything. It feels very long and very elongated. I mean, compared to a college season, you get back from break, Christmas break, that is, and you're getting going, and college season already has happened. So, like, I'm antsy to play a little bit, but it's good to take care of your arm, I guess, and take all this time.
Definitely. So when did you get started playing baseball? When did you get real serious about pitching?
Well, I started playing baseball when I was probably about 5 or something like that. My dad's a huge baseball guy. I can remember him telling me stories about even before I could catch a baseball, he would put a glove on my hand and he would try and he would make a fist and have me try and catch and just practice that motion before I could even catch a baseball. So I was always going to play baseball. I've been playing since I could. But I started getting serious more about pitching probably my senior year of high school when I knew that I was about to go play college baseball. Didn't have a lot of professional prospect out of high school, but I knew I was going to go play college. So knew I should probably start taking some stuff seriously.
So was there a point in high school or college where you thought you might have a shot at going pro?
Probably somewhere around I think once I look back at my freshman year, and I think sometimes in the moment you're really focused on what you're doing, your craft, and wanting to win, get to the College World Series, all that stuff.
Right.
But I think sometime at the end of my freshman year, and I look back at some of the accomplishments I had, I'm like, man, there's a good shot I could play some professional baseball. So it was a cool feeling, and now I'm here. So it's full circle.
So you went to West Orange High School in Windermere, Florida, lettered for 4 years. I made the state Final Four in 2017. Are there any memories or moments that really stick out from your high school career?
Like you said, making the Final Four was really big. That team, my sophomore year, there was just a lot of good leaders I remember from that team. There was a lot of growing moments in high school. I mean, whether it be on or off the field, there's a lot of growing moments in high school. But I think my favorite memories on the field was at the beginning of every year, we did an orange and blue game, which was those were our school colors. It was just a inter squad before the season started between the two team captains would draft the teams, and then they'd battle against each other. And I just remember guys would get really chirpy in those games. A lot of people would get really into them. And those are some of my fondest memories. I do remember giving up a walk-off in my sophomore year or something like that. That part sucked, but I just remember them being very competitive and fun.
Okay. So off the field, you did a pretty cool thing called the Warriorthon, a fundraiser, raised $80,000 for children's hospitals in Florida. So kind of talk about that a little bit and how you got into starting that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't take all the credit. I mean, there was a plethora of people in high school. I was in SGA, which is just kind of student leadership, and I ended up going on to be my class president my senior year. But I think that specific year, all of SGA got together, and it's something that they've done each and every year, but we continue to try and make the goal bigger and larger every single year. So what it is just an event where it's a dance marathon where we lock all the students pay to get in, and we lock all the students in do a dance marathon for like 12 hours where you can't sit down, or like there's all these different donation bucket things that you can do. Oh, you get to sit down for 5 minutes, but it's a $5 donation. And we spend the whole year really collecting money for the Children's Miracle Network, which is an organization that works with all the children's hospitals around that area. And that was our most accomplished year. Yeah, we raised $80,000. So it was a huge accomplishment. We were all definitely really proud of it.
That's really awesome. It's kind of near and dear to my heart because when my son was born, he had some heart and underdeveloped lung issues. And we spent a lot of time at the Cleveland Children's Hospital. So that's really cool. Appreciate you doing that. That's awesome.
No worries, man. That was a great experience. And I still to this day, I love doing stuff like that. But especially I remember in high school, it was really impactful to get a bunch of young kids together doing that kind of stuff, because it's a lot different when you're closer to it. I remember we visited a lot of the hospitals and we'd go hang out with the kids and stuff like that. And it made you a lot more motivated to go out there and like make a difference, which was really cool.
Definitely. So college-wise, you ended up at Ole Miss. So how did the whole recruiting process go? Were you recruited heavily by some of the schools in Florida, and how did you end up ultimately going to Ole Miss?
Well, I ended up committing really young. I mean, coming from a family that didn't have a ton of money, getting a scholarship was a priority. So once one was offered to me, I didn't wait around and think about it all that often. So the Ole Miss was the first school to actually offer me. And I took that offer, I think 3 months after they gave it to me. And that was the summer going into my freshman year of high school. So it's kind of a surreal, scary feeling to know where you're going to spend your 4 years before you even were there. But I remember before that, I had went on a couple of visits to UF, Florida State. Those were the in-state schools. And then I had also went on a visit to LSU as well. So a lot of SEC schools, one ACC in there, but I think I had an interest in getting out of the state of Florida. Not that I dislike it whatsoever. When I went to Ole Miss, I kind of have I had a very special first visit. Their football team is like very beloved by all their fans, and it's not something that beloved because they're so good, but kind of because they're the darlings of the SEC. So that's cool. What it was like for me.
Nice. So your freshman year, you actually broke the school strikeout record with 86 for freshmen. It actually was held. One of the people that held it was former Cleveland pitcher Drew Pomeron. So that's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. How was the transition from high school to your first year of pitching college ball?
It was kind of steep, but there was a lot of learning. There was a big learning curve. Obviously, the hitters just got tremendously better. And I had the blessing of playing for a team that just was one of the top offenses in the country. So if I got to throw against them for an entire fall and got 25 innings against Tyler Keenan and Anthony Servideo, Gray Kessinger, all these guys that are playing pro ball now, and I got to pitch against them I think I was 18, and I'm throwing against all these guys that are about to get drafted next year. That was a big step, but it was all the better because all those home runs I gave up in the fall made me feel a lot better when I was facing guys into the spring, and they were just like, these guys are not as good as the guys I was facing in the fall. So, you get banged around a little bit your freshman year fall, and then hopefully you figure it out and you learn where to not throw and where to.
So you were selected to the USA Baseball Collegiate Team Camp. How was that experience for you?
It was a blast. There was a lot of learning that went on that trip. But most of all, it was just awesome for the experience. It's once in a lifetime experience. I got to play with a bunch of really fantastic players, a bunch of guys that are playing really good pro ball now. It's just cool to meet a bunch of guys that are all doing really well at their sport, ask them questions. I remember me and Reed Detmers got somewhat close, and we got to talking about pitching and how we do a lot of things similar. So it was cool to just hear how he talked about his changeup or how he talked about his breaking ball and picking up little things, and it all helps in the end. So it was just an awesome experience all the way around.
So then you head into 2020, your sophomore year. You started out really well, 3-1 with a 2.35 ERA. You're a preseason All-American. And then the pandemic hits and cancels the rest of the season. So how tough was that? And what did you do to kind of stay in shape the rest of the year?
Oh, it was like a shot to the chest because we all were everyone believes when you go, whatever we went 19-1 to start that season, we all thought, oh, okay, we're going to go to the College World Series. And you think, and when the pandemic starts, you think worst case scenario, like this was our year, we're not getting that back. So it was tough for that first like week or two, and then got back. Restrictions were extremely tight, so everything I just did at my house. And then as I was able to like get weights at my house, or my brother actually came home and I was able to throw with him, because we didn't know when it was all going to end initially. So right. I mean, I'm throwing with my brother out in the yard, and then finally we were able to like get the keys to a high school football field, and then we could like go on there, play catch, and then we'd be doing like these prison workouts where it's like pull-ups, dips, push-ups, like stuff like that. But yeah, it was although it was an awful time, I think it was a very weird experience and cool for me to just like strip away because I didn't have bands, I don't have my weighted balls, I don't have all these fancy new things that we do to try and get better, and you strip that all away, and then what is it? It's just playing catch, working out. And it was cool to strip all that stuff away and just like get back to the roots of it all. So
okay,
it was all right.
So your junior year, you really took off. Your first team unanimous All-American, set the program record with 12 wins, fifth in the nation, 142 strikeouts. Team-wise, you mentioned you thought you guys in 2020 had the team to go to the College World Series. You came up just short in 2021 in the Super Regionals. Yeah. How tough was that?
It was super tough. I remember if I would have pitched Friday, I think things may have went different, but because I had thrown later in that regional game, that I had to throw on Saturday. So we lose Friday night, we win Saturday. I'm getting interviewed after the game, and I'm just like showing a ton of confidence. Like, we're going to the College World Series. This is what I'm saying in all my interviews. And then we lose, and it was devastating. It truly was. Like, I just loved the guys on that team, and I hated it, not for myself, but for our coaches, for all of the players that put so much into that team. And that team had serious chemistry, and it was tough to let it all go, knowing that, well, what was and what I thought at the time could have been my last college baseball season. It was tough to let it go, being one game away twice. But I mean, it was all for the better. I mean, I think all those losses makes those wins even sweeter when they come. So
true. So before we get into the draft stuff, you're a pretty passionate guy on the mound. You've got a little warm-up routine where you sprint from the dugout to the mound. Kind of talk about that a little bit and how that all got it started.
Yeah, I think I'll word it the way my college coach Mike Bianco would word it. You're not superstitious, you just have your routines. So yeah, I mean, if I was to go through it all, I walk up to the line, sprint to the baseball, pick it up a certain way, swipe the mound the same way, spit in the same spot, throw the same warm-up pitches before every inning. And that just all came from, success. And when success happens, it's something that like you take and that was just something that I was taught, and not even for the superstitious part of it, but really for like the mechanical part of it. When something good happens, when you throw a pitch a certain way, remember what you did and try and do it again. So that's where it came from. And then now it's got to happen. It's always going to happen.
I get it. Something you get comfortable doing, and it coincides with success. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. All
right. So you end up getting drafted in the second round by the Cleveland Guardians, 58th overall. So kind of take us through the draft process. How did that go for you? How many did you talk to a lot of teams, and what were you doing on draft day?
Well, it was stressful. It was, first of all, I think everyone is losing their mind a little bit. I think it's the most stressful day for any guy that's going to become a professional baseball player. But it was nice to be there with my family because I'd been at school so long, and that was the longest time I had spent with my family, was that time leading up to the draft. I got to be with them for a very long time, which was awesome. And figured I wasn't going to go in the first round. So we watched it and everything, but we weren't expecting anything whatsoever. But then when day 2 happened, it was almost like game day. All my friends came over, my mom, my dad, we were all like sitting there hanging out on the couch, and you're just waiting for a phone call. So that part's a little stressful. I kind of like left it on the table so everyone could like all watch together when like an agent calls me. So it was just an all around fun, heart pumping kind of day. To your other question, I didn't get a ton of calls from any other teams. Like before the draft, of course, you talked to all 30 clubs. But that actual draft day, I think I talked to 3 different clubs. That was it.
Okay. It's a common theme, by the way, of all the guys I've talked to about how stressful it was, and was like a weight lifted off their shoulder once finally hear your name called.
Oh yes. There's nothing worse than the Aaron Rodgers just sitting in the draft just waiting on it, man. There's nothing worse.
So how familiar were you with the city of Cleveland and the Cleveland organization?
The Cleveland, I'm super familiar now, obviously, because I worked with them, but going before, I wasn't super familiar with them. All I knew was that they were just like pitching gurus. They were in that classification of people that just knew how to breed arms and get people to throw harder and execute pitches better. And, for lack of better words, they're like stat nerds. They just know where the heck you're going to be able to you're going to have the most success pitching. So that as soon as I knew that going into that, even my agent had told me that, and I was like, man, that sounds like a place I want to be. I knew that going in. For the city of Cleveland, I still have not been yet. I'm excited to go. But my dad's a Pittsburgh guy, so I know the hard-nosed blue collar kind of lifestyle, and I'm excited to be there sooner than later.
That's cool. So you didn't appear in any games in 2021 after you were drafted. What did they have you do after you reported?
So I think, it was 2 weeks after draft week or after draft day. They flew all the drafts out here. We went through our initial program to kind of get us familiar with everything, and then we kind of built ourselves up to get ready for the instructional league that happens at the end of the season. So I think I threw 20 innings in the instructional league or something like that. Did that, faced a couple other teams around here in their instructional league, and just got my toes wet. Didn't get to really do much outside of that, but it was exciting. Still got to throw the jersey on, and it's better than doing nothing in my eyes. So I was happy.
Very true. So I know I'm sure you're itching to get your first pro season started. What are your personal goals for 2022?
To be honest, I haven't put a whole lot of thought into it, Kevin. I'm still kind of feeling it out. I know that there's a goal in my head, and it's that I want to lead whatever division I'm playing in. I want to lead in innings pitched. I just think that's a good general goal where it's like, hey, if I'm doing my job, that means I'm out on the field a lot. So if I can do that, that would be really cool. And that also means I have to be efficient, because I can't they're not just going to throw me 120 pitches every time. So, that means I got to be efficient, which has been one of my goals too, is to be able to get guys out on 2-3 pitches instead of 5. So I think that's a really good one. And then of course, develop, like just see how, try and throw harder, spin the ball faster, and do anything to just stand out, cream of the crop. That's all we're trying to do. And of course, win. That's like priority number 1. But I know that when you're in the minor leagues, some other, not personal goals, but like even the coaches will tell you that they're very worried on your personal development and everything. So, at every given day, I want to go out there and kick the other team's butt. So
that's a good goal for sure. And you're definitely in good hands here, because, they're called the pitching factory, and they do a very good job of developing young pitchers. So you're definitely in good hands.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I mean, they've just, right as you came in, I think they might have known they were just a little bit good at it with the way this draft had went. But they, no, man, that's not to just say that they're pretty good at their job. I mean, they're fantastic. They're the best people in the business, and I'm so happy to be here. I think it's such a blessing that I ended up where I am, and such a good group of people. And I think it just gets better from here. So I'm really excited.
Definitely. We're happy to have you for sure. All right. Before we wrap it up, we have a little segment at the end called Getting to Know Your Guardian, and ask me 10 questions, non-baseball questions.
All
Few
right.
fun ones in there. So when you're ready, I'll throw them at you.
Yeah, shoot. I'm ready.
All right. So if you had to play another sport professionally besides baseball, what would it be?
I'm going to be a professional court volleyball player.
Okay.
That's the only other sport that I've ever played, and it was in
Really?
middle school. And I'll just be the libero. I'm too short to do it to spike. I'm just going to be in the back diving around.
There you go. That's interesting. So how about if you couldn't play professional sports, what occupation would you desire?
Went to school to be a political science major. So throw me in there for, working in the Florida state office, doing some sort of, maybe some campaigning, something like that. I'm very interested in politics and all that stuff. So maybe not national government. That seems like a little bit too much. We'll work at the state level. That sounds good.
All right, there you go. So did you have a favorite game day meal or snack?
Yes, I did. The first time I threw in college, I didn't know this, but I really like Italian food. It's one of my favorite. It's definitely my favorite food. And we were playing a earlier game, and we eat the meal 4 hours before, and they asked me what I wanted to eat, and I said, can we just do like chicken parmesan? Little did I know that the meal came out at like 10 a.m. So we're all eating chicken parmesan super early in the morning, and then I went on to have a great outing that day. But just like every other superstition, we ate Italian food every single day that I pitched.
Nice.
So
it's my favorite as well.
I think that'll always stay in my diet.
How about your favorite takeout?
Oh, see, I just tried In-N-Out for the first time since I got out here, and that was pretty life-changing. But I would be going against everything if I didn't say that. See, I'm a Florida boy, like I said. If you guys haven't had a Florida pub sub before, it is life-changing experience. I know a lot of Northerners and a lot of West Coast people haven't had them, but if you ever get a chance to go to the Southeast and go to Publix, yeah, it's a grocery store, but their Publix subs, chicken tender sub, it is my favorite thing on earth. And it's the most generic Florida thing in the world, but I don't care. It's the
I'll have to remember that if I'm ever down south. And
awesome.
In-N-Out's been a pretty popular one because I've had a lot of West Coast guys on. So
yeah, no, In-N-Out was, I think it's the best fast food, no doubt. If you're just going to drive through somewhere, it's awesome. All the secret menu stuff's fun too. I like it. It's just got a good vibe. I like it.
So what's your favorite music genre and favorite group or solo artist?
My favorite genre, if I had to listen to one genre for like the rest of my life, I'd go with like 80s rock, grunge kind of area. That's been my favorite genre through and through. But I do have phases where, I like more rap music. I'll like more like 80s rock. But if I had to listen to one time, it's 90s alternative grunge, and I'm going to listen to probably Stone Temple Pilots. I think they're probably my favorite.
Yeah,
they're awesome.
How about your favorite movie of all time?
This has been a hot topic, actually. Me and Gavin Williams, he's my roommate. We've been talking about that one a little bit, actually. I like I like a lot of like Tarantino films. I think he's my favorite director. So it sounds super cliche, but I'm going to go with Pulp Fiction just because I think it's Tarantino's best movie. I do like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think that's, although it's one of his newer movies, I do think it's one of his best. Okay.
How about your favorite athlete growing up, pro athlete?
Baseball or just any athlete?
Any sport.
There's a skateboarder that goes by the name of Bob Burnquist. He is an old, like, I think his skateboarding peak was like 1999, 2000, that era. He was doing X Games stuff back then. He just invented more tricks on the vert ramp than any other athlete. And I think he holds the record for the most X Games medals in all of all time. So he did like big ramp tricks. If you've never seen anybody do big ramp skate tricks, it is like the scariest looking thing in the world. They go down these massive mega ramps and they'll do like flip tricks. Dude's a crazy person, but he's also still rad, and he's a much older guy now, and he's still doing it all. So Bob Burnquist is a stud.
Okay, so I'm guessing you did some skateboarding in your younger days.
Definitely. Didn't bring my skateboard out here though.
How about your biggest fear or phobia?
Fear or phobia? I don't know. It's not tight spaces. It's not heights. I don't necessarily. I think this is kind of across the board. Nobody likes these, but if I see a cockroach, or if I'm close to a cockroach, or if God forbid one gets on me, I'm going to squeal like a little girl. I'm going to sound like a little child. So, yeah, I can't handle them. I don't think anybody likes them, but I will run away if in the future let's say my wife wanted me to go clean something. I'm just not going to do it. I'll call an exterminator before I touch one.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Let's save the best one for last, as always. Who is your biggest celebrity crush?
Oh, it's a good one. I've got to be careful when I'm saying this, but I'm not going to lie to you. Okay, why would I do that?
Right.
Vanessa Hudgens has been the love of my life for way too long now, but she, of course, is with the fantastic Cole Tucker, and as we all know, Cole Tucker's brother is now one of my teammates. So I got to be careful what I'm saying nowadays. But, Vanessa, always in my heart. Always in my heart.
Good choice. All right. So what do you want to tell the fans about what to expect from Doug Nikhazy in 2022?
Oh, man. If you ever get to come watch me, I'll try and put on a show. I try and bring a lot of energy when I'm on the mound. And, I think that's my most redeeming quality, but some people would say it makes me a pain in the butt. Is just, I'm like the most competitive person I think you'll ever meet. Whether it's a chess game, whether it's a baseball game, it doesn't matter. But you'll see a lot of that when you're on the mound. So what you can expect is me to just be high energy, going after guys, trying to punch people out, and letting them know. So just going to try and have a lot of fun, and hope you guys if you guys ever get to come see me, just come up and say hi, because I love talking to people. As you can tell, I'm a loudmouth.
Awesome. Well, if you hopefully you end up at Lake County this year, or even Akron at some point, I'll definitely come out and see you, because I'm close to both of those. So.
Yeah, definitely. That would be awesome.
All right, man. I appreciate you coming on and taking time out of your busy schedule. And I wish you the best of luck in your first professional season. And if you want to hop back on after the season, talk about how your first pro season went, you're more than welcome. No doubt. Book it, Kev. We're on. All right. Will do. All right, man. Well, good luck to you again, and hope you enjoy your weekend. And everybody else, enjoy your weekend, and we will talk to you next week. Thank you.